Okay, so NASCAR just recently announced a few rule changes for the 2023 season, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents on those. The first change that I honestly feel it's a pretty good change, and I honestly hope that they implement this for all races, not just on road courses alone. There will no longer be yellow stages, stage yellows. There will no longer be stage yellows. When the stage ends, the race will remain green. Stage points will be awarded as normal, but the race will remain green. There will be no more stage yellows. This is only for road courses again, but I hope this applies for all races because stage yellows, and I have said this for a while, I don't mind throwing a I don't mind, awarding points for winning stages. I don't mind that, but don't throw the caution, because then that interrupts the natural flow of the race, and interrupts strategy. And strategy is a big point. It's a big part of a NASCAR race, and it just messes up the strategy, like a race-long strategy. Now you're just thinking about what to do, just splitting the stages and stuff like that. Some drivers are gonna go like stage point hunting and stage point hunting and all that stuff, and that's not how NASCAR is. You should not be thinking about winning a stage. You should be thinking about winning a race. So this is honestly a great change. This is only for road courses, but then again, if the reception is positive, which I hope it is, then NASCAR could hopefully implement it for all other tracks. Now, this next rule change that I'm still a bit mixed on, is the loose wheel or the detached wheel penalty. It basically says that if the wheel is lost on pit road, the driver has to serve a pass-through penalty under green, or restart at the tail end of the field under yellow, if the race is under yellow flag. That's fair enough. But if lost on the track, the driver will be penalized for 2 laps, and it will be a 2-race suspension for 2 pit crew members. So the crew chief will no longer be suspended for like 4 races, but 2 crew members will be suspended for 2 races instead. I feel, the penalty, as far as the penalty goes, I feel like the suspension is fine, but the 2-lap penalty I feel is a bit too harsh. I would have it reduced to like a 1-lap penalty, because 2 laps is way too much, especially considering because this has to do a lot with the fact that the loose wheel last season, there were a lot. It cost a lot more. There were like a lot more loose wheels than I anticipated. It was a big problem. When the Gen 7 car was unveiled and there was a single lock nut, everyone thought, had the assumption, and rightfully so, that this will cause a lot of loose wheels on pit road. And this definitely happened, but it happened with a lot more frequency than I wanted to. I remember, like, at the start of the season, we had like how many loose wheels we had? Like 4 loose wheels in the first 6 races of 2022. Then they kind of died down, but then it almost felt like we had like a loose wheel penalty every 2 races. It felt like. So this was honestly a very common occurrence compared to what was expected. But at the same time, penalizing the driver for 1 lap for losing a wheel on the track. I get it, it's a safety hazard. You're gonna have to throw a caution, more than likely. But still, a 2-lap penalty is way too harsh. Now, I know that teams and crews are going to have like a 1 full season under their belt, and obviously by simple logic, you're expected to have less issues with this, but as great as these crew members are, they're still human and mistakes are going to happen. I believe we're going to see a few loose wheel penalties, but I think they're going to be less common. But again, even then, 2-lap penalties a little too harsh. I would have kept it at 1 lap. The next rule change that I am pretty intrigued about is rain tires. Teams who have the option to run rain tires on short tracks, in addition to road courses. So basically, every short track, with the exception of Bristol, we're talking about the LA Coliseum, Martinsville, North Wilkesboro, New Hampshire, Phoenix, Richmond, Milwaukee, IRP. Every short flat track that you can talk about. I say short flat track because Bristol is a short track, but it's not flat. So the rain tires, they don't apply there. You can't run rain tires at Bristol and expect it to work for obvious reasons. But yeah, wet tires on short tracks. This is something I'm really intrigued about. I don't know how cars are gonna handle, because on ovals you run, especially on the straightaways, you run faster than you go at higher speeds than you do at road courses. In general, like lap times at short tracks are faster than lap times at road courses. So I'm actually kind of intrigued to see how the cars are gonna handle. But still, regardless of what happens, it's great to see NASCAR, taking a look and experimenting with this. If the races are deemed like too unsafe, if one of these races turns out like COTA 2021 and it's a failure, then yeah, it just means that racing in the rain is not meant for oval racing is not meant to race in the rain. Then that's just about it. But I like NASCAR taking a risk, even if it's just for short tracks for obvious reasons. But it's great. I still hope it doesn't rain, but it's great to have the option to have a backup plan in case Mother Nature doesn't cooperate. So I'm really intrigued to see how if it rains at a track like Martinsville or New Hampshire. I'm really intrigued to see how the logistics of that is going to be, and how the racing will play out. Another rule change that I really liked, that nobody will talk about a lot, but it's still relevant. The damaged vehicle policy has been increased from 6 minutes to 7 minutes now. And this is, again, in my opinion, a great move on NASCAR's part, because once again, the Gen 7 car has thrown a lot of curveball on these teams. We especially saw it last year that the car is very durable on the outside, but it is very fragile on the inside, especially with those toe links. So I feel like this is the way to go, as 6 minutes is not enough to repair some of the more intricate internal parts of the car. This is actually pretty great. A pretty great change, as it would allow teams and drivers to hopefully get a banged up car back into shape and still compete for the win. So again, another change that I really liked, damaged vehicle policy. I feel like NASCAR should have been a bit more lenient from the start, but better late than never, I suppose. So another change that NASCAR made that is really upsetting, and I don't know why NASCAR just keeps doubling down on it, is the points eligibility for playoff drivers, or rather removing the points eligibility for the playoffs. Previously you had to win a race and be top 30 in points in the Cup Series or top 20 in points in the Xfinity and the Truck Series. Now that's no longer the case. All you have to do is win a race, and that's all. Win a race and then be playoff eligible or be granted a waiver for playoff eligibility. But the point is, you're playoff eligible. All you have to do is win a race, and that's it. You're in the playoffs. It doesn't matter if you are like the 33rd or 34th in points. It doesn't matter, regardless of your point or your ranking in the points. All you have to do is win a race, and that's it. And I don't have to rehash how stupid this is, and how just NASCAR just keeps on doubling down and making the playoffs more like winning matter more in this playoffs. It's just so stupid. Again, no disrespect to like guys like Corey LaJoie or Cody Ware. No disrespect to those guys. If they win a race somehow, it's 100% earned. They earned it. Some races are won on strategy. Some races are won on attrition. Hell, I don't think there's no backing into a win stuff. There's nothing like that. Sometimes you're at the right place at the right time, but all wins are earned. With that being said, however, those guys winning a race you should not automatically be rewarded a playoff spot simply because you won a race. You know, they might have, earned that race, but they're not deserving of a playoff spot. It was already bad that, middle of the pack drivers could, get into the playoffs off of a win, but now you're opening the possibility of a backmarker driver sneaking into a win and somehow getting rewarded with a playoff spot because of it, when they are more than likely going to be eliminated first round. This is not supposed to be how playoffs work. People don't watch playoffs just because they're playoffs. They watch playoffs for being the best, to watch the best of their sport compete for a championship. What do you think people are gonna think when they see Ty Dillon being in the playoffs simply because he won some random regular season race? What are people gonna think about the legitimacy of NASCAR? If NASCAR really wanted a playoff format, and again, I'm saying this as someone who is not a very big fan of the playoffs, but if NASCAR really wanted a playoff format, they should have just stuck it out with the original 2004 chase or the 2007 chase. Just take the top 10 guys in points, take the top 12 in points, and just reset them based on wins. You can add some playoff points or stage points if you want to. You can tweak it, for some more modern era and stuff, but make it exclusive. Top 10 in points, top 12 in points. That's the best drivers. That's more like a playoff field to me. That's more of a solid playoff field, and it makes the champion feel more. It makes the championship feel more earned. Again, no disrespect to guys like Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, or Joe Logano, who have been the champions of the last 3 years. They earned their titles 100%. Whether they deserve it more than others, that's up for debate. But the way they won the championship, it should not be the right way. Look at Kyle Larson, for example. He had an elite season. He won 10 races in 2021 and won the championship. But because of the playoff format, if he didn't win that final race over Truex, who was also a Championship 4 driver, if Truex somehow got by Larson in the closing laps, then Truex will be the champion. And despite Kyle Larson's amazing season, and despite Kyle Larson being the best driver all season long, he would not have won the title. Now, again, don't get me wrong, Kyle Larson was the 100% the most deserving driver of 2021. But he should not... But the points battle or the championship battle should not have come down to a winner-takes-all race. Larson should have locked up the title about a while ago. Or rather, just about a race or two ago. It didn't need to come down. Larson didn't need to be put in a position where he had to win the final race or outrun 3 other drivers to win. That's not how a championship battle plays out. I would rather just have battle it, have the 10 best drivers battle it out for the final 10 races. That feels more like it. And again, I'm not a big fan of the playoffs, but at least the 2004 chase, it made the champion feel more deserving than whatever you have with eliminations and stuff. It's just so disappointing. But anyways, the final rule change that I wanna talk about, and this is something that once again I have a lot of mixed feelings on, is the Ross Chastain or the Hail Melon move. For safety reasons, NASCAR will now be penalizing the whole, running against the wall to gain speed. Basically, the legendary move that Ross Chastain did at Martinsville, that move is no longer gonna be legal. And this is again another case of Chastain breaking a rule before it was even in the books. But this is honestly so disappointing because this move gave NASCAR widespread attention, even SportsCenter. It was the number 1 move on SportsCenter, and it gave NASCAR a lot of attention, of national media attention, and it gave Ross Chastain a lot of coverage as well. And for NASCAR to just penalize the move, I get it. It's a safety regulation, but here's the thing: not everyone will attempt doing what Ross Chastain did, even if they found themselves in the exact situation he was in. Because you gotta, again, you gotta think about it. The only reason Ross Chastain did it was to get into the championship 4, was to beat out Denny Hamlin for the final championship 4 spot. It was like a last ditch effort type of move, and this is not something that every driver is going to attempt. Drivers will think twice because of all the risks involving the move. This is a high risk, high reward move. It doesn't make sense banning it simply because someone finally pulled it off. And I say finally because the wall riding maneuver, we have seen a few drivers a couple times do it. We saw Kyle Larson, Noah Gragson, Sheldon Creed, Carl Edwards. We have seen it like a couple of times, these drivers trying the video game move, but they have failed. So because it didn't result in a win, or it didn't result in them, achieving their objective. In this situation, Chastain's objective was to make the championship 4, and he made it. He made it work with that move. So because someone finally made it work, you're now banning it. That's just stupid. And again, I get the safety measures argument, but do you seriously think a driver will risk life and limb, pulling a move like this at Daytona or Talladega? There's a reason why I don't see a move like this every day. That move is a once-in-a-lifetime move. And there's no need for a rule to polish it. Of course, NASCAR is just treating this like Chastain just opened Pandora's box. This is not something that you see every day. Not everyone will attempt doing it. Not everyone will attempt doing it. Trust me. Because again, there is just so much. There's just so much that goes behind making a legendary move like this that I don't think anyone, even if the possibility is there, they will still think twice about doing it. I don't feel the need to polish it. I don't feel like there is a need to polish it. But at the end of the day, just to each their own. Again, we can just agree to disagree. Regardless of what you think about this, Ross Chastain is a legend. He broke a rule before it was written in the book. He did the good old Junior Johnson thing, or the good old Jeff Gordon T-Rex card. He pulled a Jeff Gordon T-Rex card when you think about it. He broke a rule before it was even in the book. That's just basically NASCAR's word of saying, that was awesome, don't do it again. Which, again, I feel is very bullshitty because this move gave NASCAR a lot of media attention. I can get, the whole safety measure and how, some drivers might go like overboard with it, but trust me, nobody, or rather, it's gonna be very rare that we see it again. Nobody is going to attempt what Ross Chastain did, even if there was no rule against it. This is a legendary move for a reason. So, again, those are my 2 cents on all of my moves on what these rule changes are in NASCAR. Some of them I liked it, some of them I didn't like it, some of them I feel were egregious. But at the end of the day, we can all just agree to disagree. And I'm done.